Hey, what's up guys? Ken here from the Retro TRI-KLOPS channel in Malaysia. So the subject for today's review is TRI-KLOPS from the MOTU CGI cartoon that's just wrapped up its second season on Netflix. Now, if you followed my announcements on Instagram, I shared the news that this particular brand of toys, the CGI Netflix cartoon toys, have finally made their arrival here in Malaysia after something like about a year. And they seem to have launched the line with the wave 3 and 4 series of figures onwards. The initial waves, I'm not sure what happened to them, but they're finally here in Malaysia, and this comes as something of a surprise because MOTU as a toy brand has been struggling here at retail. There's been no new Origins figures at commercial retail, but these figures have been launched. Now, this is my first actual time handling any of these figures for myself. I have to say that the blister packaging is massive, alright? You get some nice graphics here on the card, a very menacing looking character portrait of TRI-KLOPS on one side, and on the other side you get a pretty menacing portrait of Castle Grayskull. And the He-Man logo here, that's right smack in the center of the packaging, looks very nice. The packaging overall, like I said, is huge. Now, these figures are obviously aimed at a much younger audience, and I'm hoping that Mattel is looking to position the brand to appeal more to kids here in Malaysia so that, somehow, Masters of the Universe may have a longer lifespan at retail. We're going to have to see what happens with that. At the same time, there's a lot here for adult collectors to enjoy as well, especially with a figure like TRI-KLOPS. As advertised, these figures do come with a power attack gimmick which you activate by twisting the figure's body and just sort of letting it go in a striking motion. Now, I do notice that the card backs do have a little bit of a stylistic design to them. You see all these cut edges here at the sides here, and these look nice, I suppose, but at the same time, they're not going to hold up well, alright, to storage display, and finding mint on card figures may be a bit difficult, as I do foresee a lot of bent cardboard corners in the future. While the larger packaging does display the figure very well and it looks very neat in package, I have to say that there's a lot of wasted space here. It's like this whole section right here, could have been filled up with about 3 or 4 additional accessories, but no, you don't get anything like that, right? You just get a lot of empty space in the package. Now, on the back of the card back, we get some very nice photos of the actual figure, showing you everything that this figure can do, from all the visor movements to the power attack gimmicks. I always appreciate it when they use actual photos of the toy, or maybe even a really sharp computer render instead of illustrations, because it just brings you closer to the toy's abilities. We also get a very small cross-cell section here that shows you 2 other figures in the wave, Skeletor and Mosquitra. At least we know what the character names are because we are fans, right? But to people who don't know who these guys are, all you get is a code number there. That's right, they don't even bother to mention the character names here. You just need to identify them by their code numbers, alright? Now, the first thing I needed to do ASAP after getting this figure out of the package was to see just how well he measures up next to the other more famous versions of the TRI-KLOPS character, such as the vintage version from the 80s and also the recent MOTU Origins TRI-KLOPS. And as you can see, he measures up really well, right? Maybe a little bit on the short side, but overall this scales very well and would look great next to the other TRI-KLOPS figures of a similar scale in your collection. Now, as I said, this is my first exposure to this particular series, and I wanted to start out with a figure that I probably felt matched something that was most recognizable to me from the classic series, and that would be TRI-KLOPS. Now, I did see a few of the other figures there on the shelves, like the He-Man and the Skeletor. I wasn't really sure how I felt about them just yet, but TRI-KLOPS here seems like the closest to his classic design aesthetic. That's probably the reason why he just called out to me, alright? And there's something about this figure, I'm not really sure if he's a little bit on the rare side, because I've seen listings for him go online for like maybe 25 to 30 USD. I'm not sure what's the deal there, but he was just right there on the packs available at regular retail. Now, they've taken a bit of creative liberties with this particular action figure because although it reminds you of the classic TRI-KLOPS that we remember from the vintage cartoon, the version of TRI-KLOPS that's in the Netflix cartoon is actually more of a machine. It's more of the visor head there with the tentacles attached to it, and what it does is sort of like just attach itself to different host bodies. So this particular version of him is probably just a host body, even though it coincidentally has colors that very much resemble the classic TRI-KLOPS that we remember. Now, he's got gold armor on his body here, if you notice, with a symbol of the lion from the Italian palace. And in the cartoon, the TRI-KLOPS machine actually did inhabit King Randor and made him like a, sort of like a puppet or something like that. So this is probably a homage to that, right down to the gold that you see on the bracelets here. It's the mixture of the classic TRI-KLOPS with something else. But given that plot scenario, it would be great if this visor head can actually be detached. Yeah. But no, it's stuck to the figure there. But it'd be great if you could detach it and attach it to like other figures in the series. All right, so you could recreate the menace of TRI-KLOPS as seen in the cartoon. Now the visor head is rotatable to reveal 3 different optical modes. You get the circular red mode, and then you rotate it to get the sort of like a diamond shaped green optic mode, and then the last one is a triangular blue optic mode. So yeah, you get 3 different optical modes. This is pretty much expected with every TRI-KLOPS release, but it's cool that you have it here. And you know what, the positioning of this thing, when you turn it around, it's actually very firm. All right, and I find that when you turn it around in a clockwise manner, it's pretty smooth. When you try to do it anti-clockwise, that's where it seems like it's a bit more of a struggle. Okay, yeah, so just do it clockwise. Now, in terms of articulation, his arms do go up and down. He does turn at the wrist. Okay, there's no elbow articulation, and he moves up at the legs there, and also you can turn him around at the knees, but you can't bend him at the knees. Okay, I'm so used to the Origins figures, I forgot how limited the articulation on these are. The cybernetic tentacles can be detached from the back of the wrists, and I suppose if you wanted to, you could have them sort of like positioned around the figure, like as though they were moving forward and in a striking position. Yeah, I mean, that's an option. Or they could just be sort of like, mechanized dreadlocks or something like that. Yeah. But, when it comes to stuff like this where there's a headgear attached to a figure, and there's like tentacles coming out of it, and there's like this sort of like a mechanized spine section, that's part of the whole setup. The first thing that comes to my mind is that this is some straight up Matrix shit. You know what I mean? Matrix. Now the TRI-KLOPS figure also comes with a staff weapon. As you can see, this thing also has the emblem of the lion on it. All right, the same lion emblem that's also on the armor. Okay, and it's pretty much a weapon of some kind. It's got a pointed tip. You could use this thing to stab somebody, but I kind of wish that they also included the iconic sword that TRI-KLOPS always comes with. All right, there's so much space in the package. Why couldn't they give us an extra accessory? Now this is my first time testing out the power attack gimmick. All right, you sort of like turn the figures to one side and then you just let them go, and they spring back with an attack. The joints on these for the power attack function, they are a bit stiff, and you can also bend them over and headbutt your targets, or sort of like just body slam them. All right, just lean them back and just body slam them. A variety of options here. It's not really quite as easily executable, but fun. With his staff accessory in hand, you can have him sort of like stab away at his victims with deadly force. Take that. Or slam into his enemies as well, like so. Here. Do you see me now? Yeah. I kept looking around for a free mini comic or something in this package. Okay, maybe I'm just spoiled with Origins, but I kind of feel that this package should come with a few more things. Okay, because they're charging us the same price as that of an Origins action figure. I mean, in Malaysia, this thing is going for a retail of 59.90 ringgit Malaysia, and that's about the same price as they're charging us for the Origins figures. I kind of feel that these should have been maybe about, probably about 10 ringgit lesser. All right, that would have probably been better. But if these are appealing to kids, if kids are asking for these figures and parents are getting them for their kids, I think that the line does probably have a chance of survival. These are pretty fun figures, but they're not for everyone. Let me know what you thought of TRI-KLOPS in the comment section below. Thanks guys, and I'll catch all of you guys again real soon with more content. Take care out there.